Welcome to How I Unfucked My Life, the show that proves you can rebuild, rewire, and rise from anything. Let's get started. Hey, welcome to another episode. Today, I want to talk about the thing that nobody really talks about. And that's when worth isn't felt internally, it gets outsourced. And a full calendar becomes a replacement. And this, my friends, is where you lose precious time. Not because you don't have enough hours in the day, but because you're spending your time proving your value instead of living your life. A packed schedule makes you feel relevant, doesn't it? It makes you feel important, needed, valued, like you matter because people need you, right? And when the calendar clears, when no one needs anything, and when there's actual space on it, a lot of people don't feel relief. What they feel is uncomfortable, restless, anxious, almost invisible. That's not a productivity or an ambition issue. That is an identity issue. And if you've ever wondered why time feels like it's slipping through your fingers, why weeks disappear, why life feels like it's flying by, this is it. You may not realize it, but for a lot of people, being busy has nothing to do with passion or ambition. It has everything to do with worth. Somewhere along the way, you learned, consciously or not, that your value came from what you did, how much you carried, how much you gave, and how many people relied on you. So your nervous system started keeping score. Busy meant safe. Needed meant value. Overbooked meant relevant and successful. And slowing down started to feel dangerous, almost lazy or unaccomplished. So instead of time being something you experience, it becomes something that you manage. And when life is managed instead of lived, time disappears. This is why people take on more at work. We're going to talk about work for a second. I hear people say things like, if I don't do it, it won't get done. They need me. This place will fall apart without me here. But here's the honest truth, and most people don't want to look at it. Your workplace isn't going to fall apart without you. I hate to break it to you. They adjust, they redistribute, they replace. So why do people keep taking on more? It's not about dedication. It's about the belief. If I'm indispensable, I'm valuable and worthy. Overworking becomes identity insurance. You don't just want to do a good job, you want to be irreplaceable. Because being irreplaceable feels dangerously close to being disposable, and who wants to feel like that? So you say yes when you're exhausted, you take on the extra shifts, you take responsibility that isn't yours, you stay late, you do more, you carry stress that isn't in your job description, and every time you hear good job, nice work, or any other thing they throw at you, that's another reassurance that you matter and that you're worthy. Not because the company would collapse without you, because trust me, they won't, but because your sense of worth might. And every extra thing you take on quietly steals time you will never get back. Now let's talk about romantic relationships. And this is a little bit harder to admit. Some people go above and beyond for their significant other, not because they're that generous, but because they're afraid. They're afraid that if they don't do more, they won't be chosen. If they stop giving, they'll be replaced. If they're just themselves, it won't be enough. So they overgive. They overfunction, overexplain, overaccommodate. They pour endlessly, and they call it love. But underneath it, it's actually insecurity. It's the belief that if I make myself essential, they won't leave. That's not intimacy. That's self-abandonment dressed up as effort. See, you're not trying to love harder. You're trying to make yourself unleavable. Ouch. And it costs you time, presence, and connection, even while you're doing everything right. But I also want to be very clear about something. I'm not saying don't help out at work or don't step up occasionally or don't go the mile sometimes or don't do something special for your partner. That's not what I'm saying. Healthy effort matters. Showing up matters. What I'm talking about is the constant need to go above and beyond, not from choice, but from fear. That need to prove you're worthy, earn your place, justify your existence, or secure your value. That's different. That's not generosity or success. That's survival. And survival mode is why time feels like it's slipping through your fingers. See, living this way keeps your nervous system in a constant state of activation. You're always on, always performing, always anticipating what is needed next. So your body never gets a message that it's safe to rest. That shows up as exhaustion, irritability, resentment, anxiety. And here's the cruel part. The more you overdo, the less seen you feel. Because people stop seeing you, they just see what you provide. And here's the part that really breaks my heart. When you're so busy loading your calendar to feel worthy, that you're not actually living the moments you're in. You're always rushing to the next thing, the next task, the next obligation, the next person who needs you. And while you're doing that, life is flying by at record speed. You blink, and somehow you went from 24 to 50. And when you really think about it, you barely remember most of it. Not because nothing happened, but because you were never fully there. You were physically present, but mentally rushing, always thinking about what's next, always worrying about what still needed to be done. So moments didn't land, they didn't stick, and they don't become memories. Days blur together, weeks disappear, years vanish. And one day, you look up and you think, how did I get here so fast? And this is why. When you're living in constant chaos, trying to prove your worth through busyness, your nervous system never slows down enough to record your life. There's no space to savor. There's no space to feel or space to remember. Life doesn't slow down because time changes. Life slows down when you do. If we actually took the time to smell the roses, as they say, to be where our feet are, and to realize we're worthy without all the chaos, life would mean so much more. We'd make memories instead of just surviving schedules. We'd feel moments instead of managing them. We'd enjoy our lives instead of wondering where another week went. Life doesn't slow down because time changes. Life slows down when you do. And here's where faith matters. I want to be very clear. God did not put you here to earn relevance. He did not put you here to prove your worth. He did not put you here to hustle for value. You were created relevant. You were created worthy. You were created deserving right from the very beginning. Before you produced anything, before you helped anyone, before you carried everything, before you became useful, before you provided anything, you were already relevant. Your worth was never conditional. What changed wasn't God's design, it was life. It was experiences, it was trauma. It was being praised for what you did instead of for who you were. It was being needed instead of loved. It was learning that approval came from performance. That's what taught you to believe that I have to do more to be enough. But that belief didn't come from God. It came from survival. Somewhere along the way, you started trying to earn something you were already given. So here's the shift that actually changes this pattern. Before you say yes to something at work, in a relationship, in life, pause and ask, am I doing this because I want to or because I'm afraid not to? That's it. If it's a choice, great. If it's a fear, pause. Not forever, just long enough to remind your nervous system, I don't have to earn my worth. Because every yes rooted in fear speeds life up. And every yes rooted in choice slows it down for you to savor. When you stop proving and start choosing, moments will land. Memories form. Life feels fuller and time stretches. Not because you did less, but because you were present for what you did. Stop asking, where am I needed? And start asking, where am I choosing? Because you don't need to prove what God already established. You see, a full calendar might make you feel relevant, but presence is what gives you a life. And if rest makes you anxious, it's not because you're lazy, it's because you learn to measure your value by how much you do. You don't need to be indispensable to matter. You mattered before the chaos. And the moment you stop using busyness to replace worth, you don't just get your peace back, but you get time back. Remember, you're worthy because you exist, period. If this episode hit home, please hit the subscribe button, give it a like, and share it with someone else who may need to hear this. And as always, have an amazing day. Listen, at the end of the day, it's simple. You either make excuses or you make progress, but you can't do both. If something in this episode hit home, then sit with it. do something about it. And if you're serious about changing your life, start acting like it. And if you're not, well, that's on you. Life doesn't wait. I'll catch you next time on how I unfucked my life. And remember, nothing changes if you don't.